Welcome to Coaching the Brave podcast with Yvonne Chase. I am Yvonne Chase, and I am here to provide you positivity and possibility, because hope and community is something that we all strive for and we all really need. So enjoy and sit back. I am so thankful that you are here another week, because what we're going to be discussing here is just so many fun people who are not only part of the military community, but who are also part of the civilian community and who have things to offer for the military. And it's not only about interviews and chatting together, but it's also about experiences of coaching and meditations and just fun little quirky things that come to mind that I just want to share with you. And I hope that they bring you a light at the end of the day to take with you to the rest of the week. And I hope you really enjoy. Without further ado, let's get into it. I apologize in advance that some of the recording sounds a little off and on podcast, so bear with me, but enjoy the content because it is fire. Well, as we all know, as military spouses, and sometimes we have a network of family, which are our chosen friends, and sometimes we do have actual family close, but when we are faced with a move away from our home and we have uprooted our lives to be with our spouses and the military life, we sometimes have to make an effort to make a family outside of our blood connection. And so I was fortunate enough on my husband's first deployment to make such a beautiful friend and friendship. And I call her my sister because we have been friends for so long and we built such an amazing bond that it wasn't always positive, but it was more positive than negative. And to have the positive outweigh the negative, you know that relationship will endure the test of time. And that is definitely what I have with Christina Reilly. She is and was, because you never stop being a military spouse, but she was a military spouse. She is now a veteran spouse, and she was stationed with us in Fort Campbell from 2010 to 2013 when her husband was medically discharged. We had our husbands deployed together, and in that deployment, her husband was medically evacuated in the middle of his deployment. So ever since then, life for her has been rocky, and as a family unit, they are now a military veteran family, and they loved their time in the military, and now they have, their own love for their veteran life, and I want to get straight into it. So without further ado, here is Christina Reilly.
Oh, hi, Yovi. My husband and I were in the military for 3 years, and we had one child at that point. We have now been out of the military. In February, it will be about 10 years. And we now have 3 children. So life is crazy, but good.
Love it. I do remember your first. He was such a baby when we met. And yeah,
Yes.
Amazing that 10 years now. It doesn't even feel like that long. Wow.
I know, right? It took me a minute. I'm like, wait, we're at how many years now?
Right. So Christina and her husband joined, and their first duty station was Fort Campbell, Kentucky, which is where we all met. And that was from 2010 to 2013. Her husband was then, deployed with my husband as well. We all had this community together. I mean, asking us how this community started was just, if it was a movie, from my experience, it would be like they were in the hangar just getting ready to go. And that, I think, was
that's right. That's how it started.
Yeah. I think that was the pivot of how we all met.
Yeah, I vaguely remember that now.
Yeah.
I was trying to figure it out the other day, and I couldn't remember exactly how we met.
I remember Galen, your son, right? Your first one.
Yes.
And he was just his rambunctious self, 2 years old, going up and down the bleachers. And you're just like, Galen, just stay here.
Yes.
All
Trying to control a little. Yeah.
Yeah, with all these people, all these uniformed soldiers, men and women getting ready to go fight the fight. Yeah.
Yes.
It was bittersweet.
Definitely. It was a hard time, but it was such a good time because we did meet at the same time.
I know. It was a beautiful opening to that relationship. We had something to relate to. We had that community that we could build together. And we were so open to it.
Yes. Yes. The four of us were so open. Like, Yovi and I were only two peas in a pod, but we also had Beth and Stephanie, and the four of us, we did everything together during that
we did.
time.
Yeah, and I was the only one without kids.
Yes. It was fun.
It was so much fun. You all had your babies, and I was like the tia, the titi, like the aunt, and the whole thing, and it was so much fun. I got to play with all of them.
Oh, yes.
See them grow. Oh my gosh. So guys, thank you so much for tuning in. We are going to be talking just like this, as if you were here with us, because that is the goal that I have for this podcast, is to help us be that community that we were able to build back in 2012, 2011. And so get your coffees, get your teas, your wine, whatever you want to drink, water. Christina, what brought you and your husband to the military?
My husband chose the military life, but he was choosing to be an officer at first through ROTC. Unfortunately, / fortunately, depends on how you see it. I see it as a fortunately. I got pregnant. We got pregnant outside wedlock, and being that my husband was going to a Christian school at the time, it was very looked down upon. But honestly, we got married. My husband switched gears, and he's like, you know what? I will finish up what I'm doing. Enlisted. That way I'm taking care of my family, and I'm taking care of this debt I have to the government, and we're just taking care of it. I always wanted to be a military spouse. I love the whole idea. I'm a military brat. So for me, military just makes sense. So for us, it wasn't we want to serve our country necessarily. For me, it made sense. For him, it just made financial sense.
I always think like that, right? The guys, very logistic,
yeah.
Very to take care. They're there to take care of us too, and that's so beautiful.
Yes.
That responsibility.
Yes.
Let's do it on a scale from 1 to 5. How was that for the both of you simultaneously going in as unplanned, enlisted versus the planned officer route?
So in the beginning, I'd say maybe a 2.
Okay.
I'll be very honest. It was not what we wanted. It was not the route that we thought God had set for us. And then as we walked through the life, and as we found out the duty station and found out what my husband would be doing for his MOS and the different steps, it truly turned into a 5. Like, every step of the way, there were challenges. There obviously were. But God opened the doors to make it better. Like bringing you and Steph and everybody into my life. And then my husband fell in love with fixing the Chinooks and being a 15 uniform. Like, he would not be able to do that if he was an officer because he'd be doing all the paperwork for it. So I think it truly turned out better, and God had such a better plan for us than what we originally had for ourselves.
Oh, that's so beautiful. I love, love, love that. That is just so, it takes that negative into a positive because God works in so many mysterious ways that we just have to hear that calling, right, and obey. And we might not think in our humanly selves that it's okay, that it's the right path, but when we finally surrender and just go for it, so many more things open up, right?
Yes, so many.
Just let go of that control. Just like, all right, God, take the wheel,
Yes.
Oh, I love that. I love your outlook on it because it is real. You went through the thick of it, and then you came out in that circumstance out of 5 in a positive route. He was able to use his hands. He was able to be in that camaraderie with the guys and all the girls, and then you and I were able to
Yes.
meet, and then all of that. That is so awesome. Thank you for sharing that.
I will say, during that time period, it was not necessarily a 5.
Yeah.
And I did not see God's plan. But looking back, it's definitely a 5, and I definitely see God's plan and his hand in every little thing.
Yeah, you're right. We don't see it. We're engrossed in that moment.
Yeah.
So when you think about your goals, you said some of them, how he wanted to be an officer, and you've always wanted to be that military spouse. And when you think about now how that pivoted, you having your baby and deciding, why don't we just go enlisted instead? What was the main goal there? Did you have one or not? Curious.
A main goal? No. I don't think I had an overall arching main goal, like I'm going to go into the military and I'm going to change it and be, no. I'm not that type of person. I think my goal at that time frame was survival. I think at that moment, because Gayla was born January 5th. Sean was supposed to go to basic training January 8th. So praise God that they moved his basic training date to February and gave us that month at home with Galen and that bonding time. But from a married couple and having that newborn baby to now you're still a married couple, but you are now solo parenting, my goal was survival. Just trying to survive and trying to figure out how to make my way into the military wife community without hurting myself and making myself look weird.
Not all our goals. Oh my gosh. We don't want to look weird.
Yes.
But you're right. Because, wow, I want to go back to the military helping you guys with giving you that eternal month, that family time that is not always heard. And I thank you so much for sharing that because oftentimes we negate the military so much. But in certain situations, they do work with you. As long as you communicate that, right? So for him to be there for the person to hold his first baby, that is a blessing.
It's definitely a blessing, but something you said was real to me because it's something my mother had said to me multiple times, is about how the military didn't care. They don't care about their spouses. And that's not true anymore.
Yeah.
Back in the 80s when my mom was in with my dad, it was very true. The military did not care about the spouses. They didn't care about the families. It was what the military wanted is what the military got. And now the military is being very family oriented. Like, looking at Fort Campbell, how many playgrounds and how many things there were for the families, and how the units all have their own FRGs, their family readiness groups. It's getting to be so much more family oriented.
And, I have a related story about that too. When my mom too was in, it was different military. It's a different army. I can't really say much for the other armed forces, but the army, it was definitely a little secluded. Yeah, and it has grown to be something so much more different.
Yeah.
I love that. And then, so when you found that now you're parenting all on your own, oh my goodness, what were those feelings that you had? Right after having a baby, let me tell you, that's a whole nother ball game, right? Because then you go into this hormonal experience that you don't know you're going through as a woman. And oh my gosh, tell me about that.
Okay, so in the beginning, it was, Yovi, it was hard. So when Sean was a basic, I still had a good friend here that lived with me here in Ohio, not too far from me. And her husband was in ROTC previously with my husband. So we were really good friends and whatnot. And she was my family, my military family at that time. She was the one that I called, and I'm like, I can't do this anymore. I need a shower. The child needs fed. He's not sleeping. There's dishes in the sink. And I'm not kidding. That was a literal phone call that I had with her. And she's like, give me 5 minutes and I'm there.
Yes.
And that, to me, that's what a sisterhood is, where we come along beside each other and build each other up. And in my time of need of, I have this 2-month-old, 3-month-old, however old he was at that time, of trying to raise this little baby all on my own, trying to be there for my husband in whatever possible way I can while he's a basic and then at AIT. It's exhausting. It truly is exhausting, and to reach out. And at that time, not being inside the military community was hard.
You guys were still out. Like, he didn't have a place to go to call, right, the Army home. He was just, you guys were technically still kind of civilians in a way, that transition period.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I would assume that's how most families were. I would assume most of them were still at home, wherever that home was. You were in New Jersey, Steph was in Texas, I was here in Ohio, and we were all scattered throughout the whole U.S. And when our husbands came back, and they're like, oh, by the way, this is where we're getting posted, we have to be there in a week.
Yeah.
That all happened.
Yeah. Oh man, all that's like that hurry up and wait that they all talk about, right?
Yes.
Awesome. Well, what would you say now when they all got sent to Fort Campbell, right? We didn't know each other until like what we were talking about before when they deployed. So
yeah,
when that all happened, since you were surviving, what would you say as like an icebreaker kind of question? Would you consider yourself an introvert or an extrovert?
So that one's a little bit tough on me because I've done a lot of learning about who I am over the years. Back in the day, I would have told you 100% I am an extrovert. I put myself out there, But honestly, I'm an extrovert introvert. So, yes, I am a very friendly person and very open person with those who click with me. But if we don't click, I tend to be very shy and very quiet. And I do enjoy my solitude at home to regain my energy. So it really depends on my situation.
And as we grow, right? Because, like you said, you've done a lot of learning over the years of who you are. And as we grow, back then, we may have been, like you said, an extrovert without knowing what other boundaries we could have set for healthy, energy incorporation. And now that we've grown, had our experiences, we've learned more about who we are and what we need as a person and how we can be a better person after we've had some type of pause, right? So,
definitely.
Beautiful. So back then, you were an extrovert.
Yeah, I would call myself, for the most part, an extrovert. Like, I enjoyed my home time, but girl, if I was at home for too long, I was going nuts.
Yes.
Remember that?
Yeah, you and I think that's why we clicked so much, because we're the same. I don't think I've changed, but back then we were the same, and we both could not stay home. We had to do something outside, get the energy. I remember we would go on hikes, we would go walking, and we would just talk about everything.
Oh my goodness, you're still my favorite workout buddy.
Yes, you too.
You and I, we would start out slow, pushing Jalen in the stroller while we were walking. And then as we would get more animated, the faster we would walk and the further we would go. It was so awesome.
We were in flow for sure. We had no idea we went that far.
And the amount of times that we're like, wait, where are we?
Yeah. Thank goodness for those trails. Those physical training trails, PT trails.
Yes.
Thank goodness that you brought a lot of snacks for Galen, a lot of water, because it got hot.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Yes, it was so hot in Tennessee in the summertime.
And then the splash pad afterwards. Oh, that was so refreshing.
Oh, yes. I love just sitting there and watching Galen play and just talking with you guys. It was some of the best times of my life, was just sitting and talking.
And I do remember you as a mom helping other moms who needed help at the park, even just like the simplest little action. And Christine, I have to say that stuck with me after then having my kids.
Really?
Yes. I've been able to just be more aware of the surrounding of I'm not the only mom here. That there are other moms and parents that they need little help, just little things. Like, for example, at the park when it's windy and something blows away, okay, I got that. If I'm closer to it, I got that, and I'll give it back to them. It's just, some people would say that's just being nice, but we've lost that somewhere in the mix.
It's almost a lost in training.
Right.
Like, our parents, at least my parents, they didn't necessarily push that of hey, open the door, hold the door open for the older gentleman or something. They didn't push the niceties. Not that they were bad parents, just that they didn't push it. And as I've grown up, I'm like, why can't I be nice to somebody else? Do I always think about it? No. But when I do, I try to do it.
And I love that, especially being a Christian mom, woman, wife, because you are doing the action and presenting what God has for us, right? Because that's all it is. Just being nice and kind and sharing that, being that missionary, and when you do that action, you are not doing it on purpose, but you're showing others how to do as well. And that's just, it stuck with me so much. And I thank you so much for that.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah, now I could be more aware and then, bring that down to my kids and then show them to be nice and kind. And I love how you always verbalize it too on Facebook. You're always like, why does this have to be such an issue? Why can't we just know that it is a thing and just be kind about it?
Yes. I'm the type of person that I get confused easily on a lot of these social issues, these woke issues. And I'm like, but why is it an issue?
Exactly.
What's the problem here? I see you as another person and I love you. I don't necessarily agree with every life choice, but I can still love you as a person.
And that's what I love about you, because you're so down to earth, even though, the struggles of the military, or even though, like you said, the rockiness of the military retirement or medical retirement. And, it's that bigger picture that we always seem to forget about. When you have this pinpointed so perfectly. No, we're not perfect, but in my eyes, you're one of my best friends, and it's just like, yeah, she's got this. It's so beautiful.
Because I feel like I don't got this most of the time.
Well, you got this. Your core beliefs are strong, girl.
I love you so much.
I love you too. So that brings us to, your faith. How has your faith kept you going through the deployment, through, being now a veteran spouse and a mom of 2 extras now? Not 2 extras, but 2 more,
It's tested me. I'll be honest. My faith has been tested. Deployment was hard. I will be honest. I'll start there. Deployment was hard. It was definitely not a walk in the park to give the military your husband and say, please take care of him. And then having my husband medically evacuated from the war zone and brought back 6 months early from deployment. That was hard. It was hard to trust God through every step and to lean on him and to say, you got this. And then going through the fact that my husband has mental issues now. He has PTSD. And walking through him having to be put into a psychiatric hospital for a short time during our military life. I'm not kidding you. There were nights that I cried myself to sleep begging God why he gave me this husband that is so different from the man I married. But you know what? God has been with me every step of the way. When Sean and I got married, we said we would never consider the word divorce. It would not be in our vocabulary. It would not be anywhere close. It's just not an okay word. And there's only one time that I considered it. And I honestly blame the VA for that one, just because being a veteran spouse is not easy, because the VA doesn't care as much as the military does. The VA is overworked. And so the VA doesn't manage the medication and keep an eye on the medication as well as they should. But we got through that, and God has made us stronger. And we have managed to work our way through each of those issues. Being a veteran spouse is so lonely. And it is truly because of God that I have found the few friends I have, and they have been able to become my sisterhood.
For sure. We don't know. We're not doctors, so we can't say, hey, VA, that was too much, or this is not working. And they're just like, oh, just keep it going. But my gut says differently.
As a wife, and even as a mother, you know this. You know your husband, you know your children better than the doctors do. Mm-hmm. You can tell when something's wrong, something's off. And they don't always listen. Great example of that, my youngest has a lot of food allergies and a lot of medical issues. And I literally had to put up such a fight with our based pediatricians that I had to go all the way up to the head of pediatrics to get anywhere.
Yeah,
So,
you've got this. You're strong, girl. Yeah. Wow. And what brought you to do that? Was it the motherly instinct that propelled you to
so there's definitely motherly instinct there of speaking specifically of my son, where I'm like, there's something wrong. I can't put my finger on it, but there's something wrong. There's also the fact that as a woman, I'm being brushed off by this man that is a lieutenant or whatever rank, and you're like, no, you go listen to me.
Yes.
How many times I've talked to different military spouses, and they're like, but I can't do that. He's such a rank. And I'm like, no, you are the spouse, and you are not dictated by rank. If there's an issue, you go above it.
Yep. Oh, you're so strong. And what message would you give to the listeners that are listening to the predominantly military? So what would be the greatest, most empowering message to, take away from your experience in general?
So my biggest thing that I would tell anybody is don't stop fighting. Whatever that fight is, don't stop. I think that's the biggest issue right now. I mean, we all know the statistics. We have 22 veterans die a day. We all know this. But don't stop. Whatever that fight is, if it's getting the health care you need, if it's taking care of the family, if it's finding your sisterhood, whatever that fight is, you can't stop. I had a counselor once. I was talking to him about issues that I've had with people and specifically my family. But I was talking to him and he's like, you're so strong because people that I normally talk to have stopped. They don't keep going after these issues. And I looked at him and I told him specifically, if I didn't, who does? And that's my truth as a military spouse, as a veteran spouse, as a mother, as all my titles. If I didn't do it, who will? Yes, I have a husband, but I can't always have him there. He does the best he can, but I've told him, our deal is you come to one thing for the kids. Whatever they're involved in, you make sure you show up for one of those events. Galen was involved in marching band, and I'm like, you're there for one of them. Whatever that game is, you're there one time.
That's your.
And he said, okay.
Yes. Woo! And we know it's a struggle for him, but it's also a struggle for you. And so to have that never-ending fight is so important because, it can be mentally, emotionally, physically exhausting. But the end result
is that smile on your child's face. That end result is looking at your husband, looking at your wife, looking at your spouse, and seeing that love in their eyes, and that you've done this so that I can do this. Because that's what marriage truly is. That's what this partnership truly is. It's giving your all so that your spouse can come in and do whatever else it needs done, or come in and fill this little gap. Watching my daughter do her dancing, my little ballerina, and seeing my husband. Yes, it's hard for him to come to these recitals, but him coming just for that one dance and seeing that smile on his face of that's my daughter. It's hard. And one thing I want to push, and I know you push this too, Yovi, is even in that tough time and even in that fight, don't forget to fight for yourself. Because you cannot pour from an empty cup.
100%. Oh my gosh, Christina, thank you so much for coming on today. This has been a joy, a blessing, and I appreciate you so much. What an amazing conversation that was. Thank you so much for sharing your expertise, your knowledge, and your skills with the Coaching the Brave community. We appreciate you so much. And for you listeners out there, if you enjoyed it and it really touched your heart and you thought of someone that it could benefit, share it with them. Thank you again for listening. I encourage you to review, check out my website as well, YovannaChase.com, and find me on Instagram and Facebook at Yovanna Chase Coaches. And I am here because I want to help you succeed. I want to help you be a more positive you. And right now, I'm doing a promotion where you will get a one-on-one holistic fat loss program. You can get a free 15-minute call with me. So if you head on over to my IG, under my bio, you can find that Calendly link where you can go ahead and sign up for that. I'm excited to speak with you in person, oh my gosh, through this Zoom virtual life here. So if you are interested or know someone who might be interested in losing 20 pounds in 90 days holistically, please share, sign up. And again, I cannot wait to talk with you next week. Have a wonderful week.